My fiancé texted coldly, "Wedding's off. Expect a call from my lawyer." I calmly replied, "As you wish." Then I quietly withdrew my name from our mortgage application for the luxury condo she'd insisted on. Within 48 hours, her lawyer. The text came in at 6:47 on a Tuesday. 4 words, no explanation, no warning. Like she was canceling a dinner reservation. I read it twice. Then I typed back 2 words, "As you wish." I didn't ask why. I set the phone face down and finished what I was working on. People who knew us would have called me the calm one. The one who let her pick the restaurant and the paint color and the guest list because it never seemed worth the fight. What they didn't know was that calm isn't the same as unaware. We'd been together 4 years, engaged for one. The condo had been her idea. A 2-bedroom unit downtown with a view. $340,000. Well past what I'd have chosen alone. She'd looked at me with that particular brightness and said, "This is the one." And I'd said, okay. The mortgage application had both our names on it. Joint income, joint credit. We'd submitted it 6 weeks earlier, and I was the one fielding the loan officer's emails while final underwriting ran. She'd been busy, she said. Busy with what? I never asked. That night I didn't sleep much. Not from devastation. From thinking clearly for the first time in months. Turning over things I'd let myself not look at directly. The phone living face down on the counter since March. The business trip her office told me didn't exist when I'd called about an unrelated delivery. The way she'd started answering questions I hadn't asked yet, like she was rehearsing for something. I'd never confronted any of it. Some part of me had just been waiting to see what she'd do next. The way you watch a crack in a window and wait to see if it spreads before you decide whether it's worth mentioning. At 8 a.m. Wednesday, I called the lender and withdrew my name from the joint application. The loan officer asked twice if I was sure, given how far underwriting had gone. I told her I'd never been more sure of anything in my life. That killed the application entirely, since the qualifying income had been calculated on both salaries combined from the start. If she wanted the condo alone, she'd need to reapply as a single borrower on a unit priced for 2 incomes, using credit that had quietly taken a hit the year before from a car loan she'd never once mentioned to me. I also emailed the seller's agent that same morning, copying my attorney, formally withdrawing as co-buyer, and noting for the record that the $12,000 deposit had come entirely from my personal account, not a joint one. Then I went to work like it was any other day. I answered emails. I ate lunch at my desk. If anyone had looked at me, they'd have assumed nothing in my life had changed at all. The first call came Thursday morning. Her lawyer, not her. Pleasant. In the practiced way lawyers are pleasant when they think they're delivering bad news to someone who doesn't know it yet. He said his client wished to proceed amicably and wanted to confirm the timeline on what he kept calling their joint investment. I told him there was no joint investment. I'd withdrawn 2 days prior, formally removed myself as co-buyer, documentation already sent to every relevant party. The deposit was mine, and I expected it returned in full. A long pause on the line, then he asked if I could send him copies. I told him my attorney already had everything, and she'd be in touch directly. The second call came that afternoon. This one was her. She didn't open with an apology. She opened with, "You can't just do that. We had an agreement." I let her finish. Then I asked her a question I'd been holding on to for weeks without realizing it was loaded. I asked if the agreement included the $400 charge from a jewelry store I'd never heard of, on a credit card statement that had accidentally synced to my email 8 days earlier. She went quiet. I told her the wedding being off wasn't a surprise to me by the time her text came in. What surprised me was that she thought I'd still be standing in a $500,000 commitment with her name on it and mine on the hook, while whatever this was continued running underneath it. I told her the deposit was mine, the condo was hers to chase alone now if she wanted it, and that I hoped her lawyer had a lot of time on his hands. Then I hung up. Her lawyer called back later, nothing pleasant left in his voice, asking about the deposit. I told him my attorney had it. Days later, an email. The condo was withdrawn on the seller's side. No joint income, no deposit, no cosigner. The numbers didn't work, not triumph, just quiet. One more text that week. "Are you happy?" I set the phone down and didn't answer.